Hello, folks. Red Labor here. I hope this day finds you incredibly well as we approach Labor Day this coming weekend. First of all, I want to say a couple of things that may raise some eyebrows. Unfortunately, as a democratic socialist, what I am about to say is going to put me on the side of people I normally do not like to see myself put aside. That would be on the left, Workers' World and the ISO and the Party for Liberation and Socialism. Just not my politics. I'm not a Marxist-Leninist. I'm not a Trotskyite. I'm not a crypto-Stalinist. I'm not any of those things. In fact, I'm pretty much opposed to those ideologies. On the right, I'm not a paleo-conservative. I don't particularly like groups like the John Birch Society and I don't particularly believe in isolationism and what can be construed as negative about paleoconservatism. But strangely, I am on the side of these crazy Marxist-Leninists and these eccentric paleocons on the issue of Syria. That is correct. The USA, and this is not meant to be an anti-American remark, but the USA should stay the fuck out of Syria. It is absolutely stupid. Have we not learned our lessons from the past? Do you know what a powder keg the Middle East is? And for the United States to go and repeat what didn't work the first time? We don't need to get ourselves involved in Syria. Here's why. Al-Assad is an asshole. He's a piece of shit. His government backs Hezbollah. I mean, it is anti-Western regime responsible for a lot of terrorism around the world. There's no question about it. Al-Assad is bad news. The rebels in Syria are bad news as well. A lot of them are linked with Al-Qaeda. And strangely enough, put aside this misnomer about chemical weapons used by Al-Assad. If the U.S. intervenes and helps the rebels take over Syria, America, the West, your partly cloudy day is going to turn into a hurricane. It's going to turn into just the most horrible storm you can imagine. Because while Al-Assad is a douchebag, the likelihood is the people they're trying to topple Al-Assad is actually worse. Do I believe chemical weapons are being used? Well, we heard that story before about chemical weapons in, Iraq. And they never found any chemical weapons. And I simply don't believe the U.S. government when they say something. I want a second opinion. Sometimes I want a third opinion. And yeah, I believe the American government would lie to you. I believe the British government would lie to their people. I believe that the Russian government would lie to their people. The Chinese would lie to their people, so on and so forth. And the U.S. is just basically repeating the stupidity of the past. Helping the rebels in Afghanistan in the 1980s to topple the Soviets. What happened as a result? It was unintentional, but we ended up having a 9/11 on our hands later on, because when the U.S. drove the Soviets out, the Taliban a few short years later took over Afghanistan and really put the damn country back into the Stone Ages, and they housed what is now as Al-Qaeda. And remember what happened on 9/11. This is the Reagan doctrine that brought us to 9/11, and the Carter doctrine too, for that matter. I'm not letting Jimmy Carter off the hook. Both Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan, I'm convinced neither of them wanted 9/11 to happen, They didn't think it was going to happen. But really, if anybody thinks about it, this whole enemy of my enemy is my friend BS always gets us in trouble in the long run. And that's exactly what happened with Afghanistan. We don't learn our lessons. We don't learn our lessons about Iraq. I mean, more people have died in Iraq since the invasion and occupation than the horrible regime of Saddam Hussein, who was also a complete piece of shit. And even from a perspective of and I am a labor Zionist, from a perspective of a man that supports Israel, going into Syria to back the rebels is 100 times worse than to let Assad go on. Because think about it: if the U.S. is neutral, I'm not saying the U.S. should side with Assad, but the U.S. really should stay the fuck out. But if the U.S. is neutral, I believe and have every reason to believe that Al-Assad probably could warm up to the Western countries. I am not so convinced that the rebels would do that, especially if they're tied with Al-Qaeda. And for those that are pro-Israel, do you really want an Al-Qaeda state to border Israel? I mean, yeah, I know. Al-Assad is not any friend of Israel, but you want to get you have potential of friendship from a secular douchebag than from a religious douchebag. Just think about that for a moment, folks. Think about what I'm saying. And what is my position on Syria? Well, as a leftist that favors secular governments, and I prefer them to be democratic secular governments, I would embrace a secular tyranny over a religious tyranny any day. And in the case of Syria, I hate to say it, folks, Al-Assad is the lesser evil in this conflict. Anyway, I know there'll be some comments. Please share what you have to say. Share your passion. Good, bad, indifferent. I'll talk with you. I'll talk to you. And if you're an asshole, I'll talk back at you. Anyway, take care, folks, and have a happy Labor Day. Bye-bye.